And when the secretary says, well, she's just going to offer best practices on how to fight disinformation, many of us in the free speech community respond with, yeah, we can pretty much guess what those are. I mean, she has for years had two solutions: corporate censorship or public censorship. You know, the third option is called free speech. The third option is to let the government and others put forward what they believe is true. How exactly is this group going to stop cartel disinformation? You know, you can't sing a snappy Broadway tune to the cartels. You have to rebut false information with true information. But that's not the background of this appointee. She has testified in the United States, in England, in favor of banning individuals, of censoring through social media companies, and even encouraging regulation of speech, which a lot of Democratic members are now advocating.
Wow. I did not know that was happening overseas. You think this is going to happen or not? I mean, everything seems so vague.
Hammer's a skeptic.
Mayorkas didn't have a lot of answers over the weekend. There are not a lot of details about how many people be involved here. He tried to clarify a little bit that this is supposed to be overseas and not here at home. And I just wonder if this administration's putting a trial balloon in the air. What do you think, Professor?
Well, you know, when you saw the defense of this appointee, it was rather tepid. You know, this is, if we to put it in Mary Poppins terms, this is when you feel an east wind blowing and maybe you should, you know, umbrella out of here. But, you know, my expectation is that they are going to now try to minimize this group. But what's really important about this is that she is pitch perfect for the Biden administration. I mean, President Biden, I've said before, is arguably the most anti-free speech president since John Adams. I mean, the record of this administration is chilling. And they went out and found this individual who has been a huge advocate for corporate and public censorship, has a distinctly anti-free speech view. And that's what's so troubling when the secretary says, well, she has a long background here. Well, it's the wrong background. It's like saying a book burner has a background in literacy. Yeah, he works with books, but that's not the background you're looking for.
Gee, well, when you put it that way.
Long and wrong.
We're safeguarding free speech, says Mayorkas. We're safeguarding civil liberties. I think it is an important endeavor. I don't know. Tepid response in some places there, but he seems to throw his... I mean, he was given an out that perhaps, to Bill's point, this really isn't all put together. And they're just sort of trying this out to see how the country might think about it. But then again, this is pretty much how this administration rolls out all of their plans and policies, to be honest.
Yeah, it's hard to see how this board is going to protect free speech. We have free speech. The threat to free speech is coming from the board and from the secretary. He has offices that counter information that is false. What really troubles a lot of us is, what is the brilliant solution they expect her to come up with? When there's false information, free speech allows you to put forward better information. But that has not been the thrust of her scholarship and her work. She has really focused on ways that the government can force truth. And what is really concerning is she has applauded what the Europeans are doing, which is what Hillary Clinton recently endorsed, which they're trying to, they gave preliminary approval to the Digital Services Act, which is a huge censorship program. And what Clinton suggested is they should pass that right away, because it might force Twitter to continue to censor even after Musk has assumed control of the company.
That was the last question here. Do you, some people are drawing a tie-in because Musk made the move for Twitter last week, and perhaps this is why it's going public. And Barack Obama, same week, I think it was at Stanford, I believe, in California, making a speech about disinformation.
Yeah, what Obama said is truly maddening for those of us on the free speech side. You know, first of all, he said he was a First Amendment absolutist, which is not true. But you notice he didn't say free speech absolutist, because he then followed that up with saying, except for things that I consider to be lies, disinformation, or quackery. Well, it's absolutely bizarre. I mean, at least be honest. If you want censorship, own it. Say it. Because when President Obama is saying that the government needs to regulate, that is state control over speech. And if you want that, then be at least honest enough to admit it. If that's what the Democratic Party now wants to be, the party of censorship, then own it. run on it. But don't try to evade responsibility like that awful speech in Stanford.
Wow.
Professor Turley, good to have
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.